Hello friends and welcome back. Now something that I never thought I'd be telling anyone in my life, ever. Crocs. You know those early 2000 rubberized shoes with holes all through them that were just heinous? They're making a comeback, but it's not as you'd expect. This is thanks to Etsy's a heavy cream store who's giving these shoes a gothic makeover, and they have gone viral. Now I came across these shoes a little while ago and I thought to myself, well, they're Crocs, I'm still not going to get them for myself. But what I did think is the DIY possibilities are endless. So for any of you out there who aren't interested in DIYing your own pair of Crocs to be Gothic inspired, I'm gonna put the link to their store down below. But for anyone who kind of wants to do it yourself, have a bit of fun, and really make it your own, this is gonna be the DIY for you. Now, Heavy Cream Store sells these for $150 US, which is about 225 Oz dollars for me, and that kind of makes sense. Crocs themselves, if I wanted to get myself a pair of authentic Crocs here in Australia, I'm up for about $55 to $60, and that's Australian, so 40 US-ish? And then including buying the materials to actually make these Gothic, that's gonna up the budget as well. So that's probably a fair price for these and the effort and the inspiration required to go into making them. But I thought to myself, how cheap can I get away with? So with the help of Wish, I grabbed myself about $60 worth of Gothic bits and bobs, so spikes and straps and studs and chains. And I'm probably not going to use all of it. By my rough calculations, I'm expecting to use roughly $40 worth of Gothic trinkets. Is that what we should call them? Yeah, Gothic trinkets. And so adding that to the cost of $60 Croc shoes, I'm gonna make them for about $100. That's still a hefty price tag, but there's a catch. I actually couldn't find authentic Crocs, so I've gone even cheaper still. Like, you wouldn't believe this. I went online, I was like, who sells Crocs? Apparently David Jones did. I went to David Jones. No, we only have kids Crocs. So I went online again. Apparently Anaconda, a store over here, has them. Well, where's an Anaconda store near me? About an hour and a half to 2 hours away. Bugger that. I found another store that apparently sold Crocs. So I went there filled with optimism. Turns out they sold hospitality Crocs, so kind of like Crocs, but no holes in them. They don't look anything like you'd expect, and that was just a no bueno for me. But there I was, defeated, thinking I would never find a pair of Crocs again in my life, and I walked through a designer brand known as Target around here, and they had kind of Crocs. I'm gonna show you and you can tell me what you think. Here's what I found. As you can see, they're not the Crocs you know and love, but they were only $10, and at this point in my journey, I was desperate. And I just thought to myself, look, so long as they're close enough, we can at least get an appreciation for what these would be like if they were legitimate Crocs. So here we go, $10 later, plus the $40 I spent on Wish, I've spent about $50 to try and recreate this look. So without further ado, I'm gonna get my Dr. Frankenstein on and try to breathe life back into this dying product by giving it a goth makeover. Let's get started. So the first thing that I wanna do is try and plan out where I should put all the bits and pieces that I've got here. Is this childproof? I swear, I'm 25. I should be able to do this. So the first thing I managed to get off Wish are these little metallic skull studs, and I think the best place to put these is probably going to be around the top, one in the center, and then spacing them evenly around. And what I will also try to do is pair them with these itty bitty point studs spaced in between. That just gives it a little bit more interest and really decorates the front of the shoe nicely. This rubber is so soft that I think I should just be able to press these into place. I mean, let's give it a try. Now to space these, I'm going to use one of my thicker studs because it's just got a wider base. I'm going to place this down and just press my next one up against it just so I evenly space these around the top of the shoe. Now another idea I've had at the moment, these are just pressured into place. I could potentially pull these out ever so slightly, insert some resin or some silicone or some glue in behind these skulls just to tack them down into place more securely and then press them back down. For the moment, I don't think these are going to come loose, so I can just leave them and see how they perform. So that is the first shoe with the skull studs all in place. I'm just going to quickly do that on the other shoe and then we can move on to the next set of studs. 10 skull studs later, and these are already looking a little bit, actually kind of cool. I mean, I never went through that goth phase, but I could maybe get on board with these shoes. It's kind of cool, and I'm not even halfway done. So now, placing these teeny tiny little studs in between the skulls, obviously, The skulls had their own little spikes that I was able to press into the rubber. These studs don't have that. What I'm going to have to do is attach them with these little screws that they included, which means, however, I'm going to have to generate a hole in its place. I have thought this through first. What I think should work is using this little nail to press a hole through the rubber, which I can then feed the little bolt through that's going to hold the stud in place. I don't know if this is going to work. It should, theoretically. Let's give that one a try. In she goes. Alright, so the nail is through. Now I just need to feed this bolt out through the hole. Yeah, that worked. Alright, so I've pressed that back out through. I'm not feeling supremely confident. These studs are hard to hold onto, and the little screws that they've given you, they are very, very short, so pressing them all the way through the rubber and also trying to get them to find purchase in the threads inside the stud, it is difficult. If I grab a screwdriver and hold on really, really hard to the stud, I might be able to just put enough pressure in there that it does hold, so let me go and grab that. Alright, so I've got a screwdriver, and let's be real here, are you surprised? Would this be a Suit Up Sam DIY if I didn't encounter problem after problem after problem that I had to try and solve? This screwdriver is too big, I can't get it in there. Problem again, I'll be right back yet again. An itty bitty screwdriver. Okay. That stud is in place. Now I just need to do it with, 1, 2, 3 more studs. So we've got 5 skulls, 4 studs interspaced around here. I think that's going to look pretty sick. Alright, already with just 1 shoe done and a couple of these studs, I'm finding some issues with this. Since I have got all of my materials off of Wish, they're not anticipating that I'm going to try and jam this through, you know, 1/2 centimeter rubber. They're anticipating, oh, he's going to put studs on this denim jacket or these fabric pants with a thickness of maybe 1 or 2 millimeters at most. This is not what they're meant for, but I am making it work regardless. So my fingers are already in immense pain because I'm having to put a lot of pressure behind these screws to try and compress the rubber in between just to be able to find purchase in the threads. But we are going to soldier on because I want to do this DIY for you. Come the end of this, however, I'm probably just going to say, you know what, just buy them off Etsy. It's a lot easier for yourself. Moving on to the second shoe. Alright, so the entire top of the ankle line is complete. I now want to see where I can put this chain, and then I can move on to some of the larger studs and then also do around this heel band. So the chain that I've got is missing. Oh no, there it is. So I managed to get this chain. This is like a thick gentleman's like necklace chain or something made out of stainless steel. I think I paid about $25 for this, including shipping. So to separate this chain, I've got these wire clippers here. I think they should be strong enough to sever one of the links, which I can then pull apart and then separate the chain into, you know, 2 separate pieces. So I want the chain to be attached to the front of the shoe, running around the outside of it and then attaching to this section here. I've got some hoops to do that. So I guess about that much chain is what I'm after, so I'm gonna see if I can snip this off right here, I guess. It's at this point here that I think I want to cut, and it's not even half of the chain, so what I'll do is I'll grab a couple more links and trim it there just to make sure, because I'll definitely have enough length for the other shoe. Like, you don't want to mess this up, because if I get this cut wrong, I've got to wait another month for more of this chain. You know what Wish shipping is like. The bits and pieces that have arrived, this is what I have to use. I can't wait for any more supplies. So I haven't cut through the link. I think I've managed to bend it slightly. I'm going to try and continue bending it. Aha! 1/2 of chain. Broken link. Now what have I got to attach it with? So I've got all these keychain hoops. I got about 20 of them. I only need 2, but you know, they didn't have a smaller batch sizing. Open this one up, place it over your strap, and then rotate that into place. So now that is sitting over like so. And then with my chain, it's got like this little lobster hook on one end. I'm just gonna pop that over there, attach it on, lay the chain along the shoe. Ah, no. This bolt is too big for the chain. Alright, so for the meantime, what I've done is I've grabbed one of the screws included in the stud set, and I've directly screwed the chain to the rubber. It is holding. It seems to be in there firm-ish. I would say if I gave this a solid tug, it would yank it out, but for the moment, it is holding. I think I'm going to leave that there for now, and then maybe at another time I can see if I can fix that up with a better holding mechanism. But I mean, it is working, and if I pull sideways, I'm able to bend the croc without pulling that screw out. So I think for the moment, that is actually firm enough. So with that holding, I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other shoe, and then we can move on to adding more studs and more bling. Okay, so a couple of trims later, I've got chain on both sides of these shoes. Now, unfortunately, these knockoff Crocs, they do have this annoying little gray section here. It kind of gets in the way of the chain, sometimes sits up on top of it like that. But what can you do? When Crocs are no longer popular enough to be in every corner store, you gotta make do with what you can find. And I could have traveled 2 hours, and I could have ordered it online and waited yet another week. But by this point, I had ordered all of my bits and bobs through Wish. I had already done my waiting. I had waited months for some of this stuff to arrive. But bottom line, I'd done my waiting. I got the Crocs I could find, well, the not Crocs. So I'm making Goth Crocs out of not Crocs, so I guess you could call them Croc knots. Gronks? So these really are coming along swimmingly. What I want to do is put the larger studs along the back. Now these ones are going to look dangerous. Let me show you which ones they are. They are these disgustingly long things. I mean, you could stab someone with that. That is terribly dangerous, but look, these are Goth Crocs. Safety is not a concern. Let's get to it. Same situation as putting the studs on the front. I'm just going to be pushing a nail through the back heel here, pumping through that screw, and then trying to screw these on as tight as I can. I think it's going to be easier since these are longer. I'm going to be able to grip them with my fingers just that little bit better. So here goes nothing. I'm going to try and put 5 on each side because I've got a grand total of 10. I can't stuff this up. Let's go. Of course, the other screws were Phillips head. These ones are flatheads. Of course. This flathead screwdriver doesn't fit these screws. I need to find a different one. Like I said, it would not be a Suit Up Sam DIY if I didn't have to fight for it. Now the spacing for these, I'm just kind of eyeballing it, doing the best I can. I tell you what, this looks dangerous. Like, already, this looks pretty damn lethal. So after putting on only 3 of the long spikes, 2 of the short spikes, because I wanted to try and alternate it. I think it kind of gives a really nice look, and I'm starting to run out of room on the band, so I think I'll just place 2 more of the short spikes, and then that should probably do it for the heel. And then I can move on and do the same thing on the second shoe, and then they're gonna be done. These are gonna be Goth Crocs, done yourself. And so with that, I have finished off the back of both of these, and I also took the time to go back and revisit the front of the ankle. I wanted to add these 2 at the sides to really close that off. I didn't put them on the inside because I kind of feel as if there's too much spike action going on in the inwards direction. You're just gonna be stabbing yourself in the feet as you walk. I mean, even these ones at the back, these 2 here, that's dangerous territory. I can just imagine yourself clipping your Achilles tendon with these little bad boys. So, with that, these shoes are basically done. Now, I made these because I wanted to show you all how you could do a wonderful DIY project on this fantastic new trend. I guess I kind of dig it. I don't personally like Crocs, didn't have it, haven't and wouldn't, but I could maybe make an allowance for these. They're kind of cool. I never did get into the goth stage in my life cycle, so maybe this will be the start of a brand new Sam. I don't know, probably not, actually. I don't think I want to wear these, but I think I know someone who should, and I would pay to see them wear these. I'm gonna take these and I'm gonna contact Alex because I think Pretty Pastel Please needs to get in on this goth lifestyle. But if you're like me and you think that's a fantastic idea, check back on this video in the coming days or weeks, and I'll put a link down in the description as soon as Alex uploads her video of her testing out and rocking out these shoes. We're gonna turn Pretty Pastel Please into Pretty Punk Please, thank you very much. So with that, $10 spent, around $40 to $50 spent in spikes on Wish, you too can put together a pair of Goth Croc shoes. Or, if you're like me and you go for second best, grog knots. Because They're kind of Crocs, but they're definitely not. So thank you very much for joining me on this wonderful journey. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like or subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And if you want to see more content like this, me doing stupid, weird, wonderful DIYs, I do actually plan to bring out a bit more of that content in the near future. So stay tuned for that. It's been great having you here, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!